Is the other guy still there?
Yep. I need a large pizza.
All right. How about medical? You need medical?
No. With pepperoni.
Welcome to Watch Mojo. And today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 creepiest 911 calls. For this list, we'll be looking at the scariest and most disturbing emergency calls that can be found on the internet. Do you have what it takes to be a 911 dispatcher? Let us know in the comments. Number 10. Chekingson Sinclair killed his wife. Being a 911 dispatcher must be an incredibly difficult job, especially when having to deal with terrifying calls like this. A man named Chekingson Sinclair calls in and reports a killing. When the dispatcher asks who committed the killing, Sinclair responds that he did.
A murder has been committed? By who?
By me, ma'am.
By you?
Yes, ma'am.
The dispatcher remains calm and professional, but the slight shudders in her voice betray her panic. The creepy nature of the call comes not only in the act itself, but in the eerily calm way that Sinclair describes the proceedings.
We got into an argument and she came at me with the knife.
And so you shot her?
Sinclair was arrested and charged with the deaths of his pregnant wife and her unborn child. He was found guilty and given 2 life sentences.
Experts believe with the new development today, the indictment of first-degree murder, prosecutors could go after the death penalty in this case.
Number 9. Jeremy Schmelzer can't breathe. Jeanette Watson of Prince William County, Virginia, received a call from 22-year-old Jeremy Schmelzer. The panicked Schmelzer reports that he can't breathe, and this is evident in his manner of speech.
1 0. 1 0.
It's very jerky and breathy, and Schmelzer can only get out a couple of brief words at a time. He's unable to give his address, and at one point, he even stops responding completely.
You there, Jeremy? Jeremy, you still there?
Luckily, Watson remained calm and had a coworker input his cell phone number into a new GPS system called Rapid SOS. The system was able to locate Schmelzer's exact location, and he was saved from a potentially fatal asthma attack. He later met with Watson to thank her in person.
I mean, I could say thank you a million times, but there's nothing to really show how appreciative I am.
Number 8. The Bigfoot Call. And now for something a little lighter. You know, if you consider Bigfoot lighter. The movie Bigfoot County opens with a creepy 911 call. The caller reports a man-like thing in his yard measuring 6'9", and it's clear from the inflections of his voice that he's very panicked.
Get somebody out there.
What's going on now, sir?
That son of a bitch is about 6'9", I don't know.
You see him now, sir?
Yes, I'm looking right at him.
Okay, hang on.
He then states that the thing is looking directly at him before the call abruptly ends.
Okay, what's in your yard?
He's looking at me.
Aside from the manufactured ending, this is a real 911 call that occurred in Washington state back in the early 90s. Even if you don't believe in Bigfoot, you have to admit that this is a particularly unsettling bit of audio. There was clearly something in that man's yard, and his terrified voice paints a vivid picture.
I heard something. I heard something.
Number 7. Charles Hendricks Foster. This 911 call started off with a troubling edge and got progressively worse. A man named Charles Hendricks Foster calls 911 and almost immediately tells the operator to shut up so he can speak.
Do you need police or an ambulance?
Would you shut up and listen to me for a second?
He then hangs up, blaming phone problems. Foster proceeds to call back and expresses his desire to kill his wife. He begs for a police officer to come out and stop him and calls himself crazy.
You send a cop out here right now. Please.
Okay.
I want to hurt this woman real bad.
He's also persistently rude to the operator, often yelling at her, telling her to shut up, and acting in a generally belligerent manner. Foster's claims and behavior make for spine-chilling listening.
To hurt my wife, I don't want to hurt anybody else.
Okay, will you go outside to talk to the police, please?
Listen to me.
In the end, Foster would indeed stab his wife, but she survived. Foster was given 10 years for attempted homicide. Number 6. Brandon Lawson. In the early morning of August 9, 2013, a man named Brandon Lawson disappeared while driving to his father's house. Lawson called his brother Kyle to report that he had run out of gas, and following this, he made a call to 911.
We're out here going towards Javelin on both sides. My truck ran out of gas. There's one car here. You got to take it to the woods. Please hurry.
He also told the dispatcher that he had run out of gas, but he also made darker claims. Lawson referenced guys being pulled over and something about being chased through the woods.
Ah, you ran into him, okay.
Got the first guy.
Do you need an ambulance?
Unfortunately, the words are very hard to hear, as Lawson is mumbling and seems out of breath. All contact with Lawson was lost soon after, and he hasn't been seen or heard from since.
No, I need the cops.
Okay. Is anybody hurt? Hello? Hello?
Human remains were found at the site in 2022 and likely belonged to Lawson. Number 5. Ordering pizza. Oregon 911 dispatcher Tim Tenick received a bizarre call. The woman on the other end said that she wanted to order a pizza and immediately gave her address.
Oregon 911.
I would like to order a pizza at...
You called 911 to order a pizza?
Tenick didn't understand at first and calmly told the woman that she was making an inappropriate call. But when the caller claimed that he wasn't getting her, Tenick immediately understood and played along.
This is the wrong number to call for a pizza.
No, you're not.
I'm getting you now.
The rest of the conversation played out in code, and Tenick was able to arrange a quiet arrest.
Turn your sirens off before you get there. Caller ordered a pizza and agreed with everything I said that there's domestic violence going on.
This was a case of domestic abuse made by a woman who was witnessing the physical assault of her mother. The suspect, a man named Simon Lopez, was arrested at the scene. Number 4. The empty funeral home. If you're a believer in the paranormal, then the following call is particularly spooky. On August 11, 2018, Colorado's Pueblo Police Department received a 911 call around 3:30 in the morning.
The police department communications center got a call that they refer to as abandoned.
Nobody was on the other end, and the call was traced to a nearby funeral home. Following procedure, the dispatcher called back and an officer was sent out to investigate. The call was answered, but once again, no one responded. Instead, the dispatcher was met with static and the very faint sound of a male voice.
Hello?
When the officer arrived at the funeral home, he saw that all the lights were off and that it was clearly closed. Not sure about you, but ghost calls are a big no thanks from us. Number 3. Jake Evans calls on himself. This case shares many similarities with the story of Chekingson Sinclair. Young Jake Evans of Texas calls 911 and reports that he killed both his mother and sister.
Is there any reason that you were so angry at your mother and your sister?
I don't know. I wasn't, it's weird. I wasn't even really angry with them.
He remains disturbingly calm throughout the lengthy call and explains with emotional detachment why he killed them. Perhaps most troubling is Evans' admission that he was planning on killing someone for a long time and that he is, in his own words, quote, evil.
I think, obviously, I'm pretty, I guess, evil, but that's, whatever.
Okay.
The dispatcher remains studiously professional throughout the call, even when Evans goes into graphic and upsetting detail about their deaths. It's a chilling call, both in terms of tone and content. Evans was arrested following the call and sentenced to 45 years in prison.
Evans and the attorneys agreed he will serve 2 45-year prison sentences running concurrently. His attorney read from a letter from Evans' family.
Number 2. Missing girl calls the police. On April 6, 1986, young Antoinette Calladito disappeared from her New Mexico home.
I didn't start panicking until we checked with all the neighbors, went to every house, and nobody had no sight seen of her.
According to her sister Wendy, Calladito answered a knock at the door and was kidnapped by 2 men. 1 year after she disappeared, a young girl claiming to be Cayetito phoned the police. The call is short but incredibly disturbing. The girl is clearly distressed, identifies herself as Antoinette Cayetito, and claims that she is in Albuquerque.
I'm Antoinette Cayetito.
Okay, whereabouts in Albuquerque?
Before she can give more information, an adult can be heard chastising the girl for using the phone, and the girl screams in response.
Hello? Antoinette, where are you?
Cayetito's mother listened to the audio and believed that it was indeed her daughter. Unfortunately, nothing came of the call, and Cayetito remains missing. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. The Weepy Calls of Paul Michael Stephanie. Throughout the early 1980s, Paul Michael Stephanie of Minnesota killed 3 women and severely injured another 2. He became known as the weepy-voiced killer, as he regularly called the police to report on himself. In the terrifying calls, Stephanie explains in a tearful and high-pitched voice that he killed the women and begs the authorities to capture him.
Please don't talk, just listen. I'm sorry, I killed that girl.
On some occasions, he even shows remorse and apologizes for their deaths. These are extremely creepy calls.
Finally, I just stabbed somebody with a knife pick. I can't stop myself. I keep killing somebody.
With Stephanie's frightening voice blending uncomfortably with the macabre and violent content. Stephanie was arrested after attacking another woman and was thrown in prison.
What's the address?
I don't know.
Who are you?
And recognizing the weepy voice, Stefani was caught when he called for medical help and sentenced to prison.
He died from cancer in 1998 at the age 53.